The ad showed up between a coupon for dry cleaning and a notification from my bank telling me I had $11 left. It was a Tuesday, I think, or maybe a Wednesday. Those days blurred together the way they do when you have been unemployed long enough that weekends stop meaning anything. Earn up to $800 per month. Zero effort. Just sleep, that advertisement said. I sat with it for a moment, the way you sit with something that sounds too clean. Then I clicked. The site was called Nodal. Clean design, the kind that costs money. Dove gray backgrounds, lowercase font, a slow dissolve between pages. There was a photo of a woman sleeping in white sheets, morning light on her shoulders, the whole thing looking like a perfume campaign. Underneath, it said, "We believe consciousness doesn't stop when you close your eyes. It goes somewhere. We would like to know where." There was a form. There were 3 paragraphs of soft legal language I didn't read. I signed up. The device arrived 4 days later in a matte white box. It looked like a sleep tracker. Thin silicone band, small sensor node at the wrist. Instructions said to wear it every night. Press the small button before bed and it would transmit data. That was it. I was told a payment of $40 would land in my account each morning the device registered a full night of REM activity. $40 a night. I pressed the button at 10:47 p.m. and went to sleep. The first dream was nothing remarkable. I was in a parking lot I didn't recognize. Wet asphalt, yellow lines, the kind of overcast sky that makes you feel like evening even at noon. I walked towards a building that kept not getting closer. A car alarm went off somewhere behind me. I woke up at 6:14 a.m. and $40 had appeared in my account. By the end of that first week, I had earned $280. I started sleeping better than I had in years, which seemed wrong in a way I couldn't articulate. The band felt warm on my wrist in a way silicone isn't supposed to feel warm. Nodal had a private forum for participants. I found it through a link buried at the bottom of my dashboard and joined without thinking much of it. There were about 300 members by then, maybe more. People posting about their nights, the way you would post about a weird movie you have watched. Someone named Hira from Lahore wrote that she kept dreaming of a river that had no banks, just water going out in every direction, as far as she could see. Warm, perfectly still. A man from Sao Paulo said he was in a long corridor every time. Linoleum floors, fluorescent lights, the kind of corridor that belongs in a hospital or a school. Except there were no doors on either side. He walked it for what felt like hours. He always woke up before he reached the end. I read through the thread at 2 in the morning, wrapped in a blanket, eating crackers, and I remember thinking, everyone's dreams sounds like the same kind of nowhere. Not the same place, just the same texture. Flat light, familiar but wrong. The sensation of a space you had been before but couldn't name it. I didn't think anything of it then. I just went to sleep, pressed the button, and dreamed of the parking lot again. It was Hira who first mentioned the building. She posted about it on Thursday, or what I'm told was on Thursday, because by that point I had stopped trusting my own perception of time in a soft, creeping way that I only noticed much later. She wrote that the river had ended, just stopped, the way rivers don't. On the bank where the water ran out, there was a building, long, low, made of pale stone or pale concrete. She couldn't tell which. No windows on the ground floor, a row of them on the second. Something inside moving behind the glass. Though she couldn't say if it was a person or just a reflection of clouds. It felt like it had been there a long time, she wrote. The way very old things feel. Not dangerous exactly, just permanent. Like the building had opinions about you. 47 people replied that they hadn't seen it. Not something like it, but not a similar structure. The same one. Pale walls, second floor windows, and that particular stillness around it, the kind that presses on your ears. The man from Sao Paulo, his username was Felipe, said the corridor he had been walking every night ended in a door, and the door opened onto a courtyard, and the courtyard was in front of a long pale building with a row of second floor windows, and he had been standing outside it for weeks without even thinking to say so, because he assumed it was just the furniture of his own private mind. I went to my own post history. I didn't describe the parking lot in detail to anyone. I went back to my dreams, the way you mentally refile through them in the first 10 minutes of morning, when they still have color. And I thought about what was at the edge of that lot, what I kept walking toward, what I had never reached. A low building, pale, tall. I closed my laptop and sat in my kitchen for a while. Outside, a dog was barking at something in a yard 2 houses down. It didn't stop for a long time. Everyone was going to the same place. We had just been describing different ways of getting there. Nodal's response to the forum thread was fast and frictionless. An official account replied within hours to say that shared symbolic architecture in dream states is a documented phenomena, that the mind constructs from cultural archetypes, that the building was almost certainly a collective production shaped by our participation in a shared study. They linked 2 academic papers, thanked everyone for the engagement. It was a perfect, reasonable explanation. Hira replied, there was a woman standing at one of the windows. She was looking down at me. She didn't move. I don't think she was breathing. The thread was logged 20 minutes later. Hira's account was marked inactive by the next morning. I messaged her directly through the forum's private system, but the message showed as undelivered. I kept wearing the band. I don't know why. I mean, $40, obviously. That's the answer that sounds sane. But honestly, I think I kept wearing it because by then the dreams felt less like dreams, like something I was supposed to do. It felt more like a commute, somewhere I was supposed to be. 3 months in, a woman named Priya joined. She worked at Nodal, not a participant, data analyst on the sleep study team. She posted in different forum and informal Slack adjacent thing. One of the participants had started outside Nodal's official channels, and her first message was, I need to tell some of you something, and I'm not sure how to say it without sounding like I have lost my mind. She had been reviewing the biometric data from participants for weeks. Sleep cycles, REM depth, neurological activity, that kind of stuff. The numbers were normal, perfectly, eerily normal. The kind of flat, unbothered data that you would get from someone in a sleep, a dreamless sleep. Except that was the thing, not dreaming. The scans didn't look like dreaming brains. They looked like she had to sit with the word for a long time before she used it. They looked like absence, like a room with the furniture removed. Activity patterns that matched in several striking ways what neurologists had recorded in patients in the final stage before brain death. Not dying, just gone from the body, somewhere else entirely. I don't think you are dreaming, she wrote. I think you are going somewhere. I think the band is how they get you there. Then she wrote the part that made the Slack channel go quiet in that specific way online spaces go quiet, where you can feel everyone reading and not typing. She had pulled the historical data for a former participant, someone who had withdrawn from the study 6 weeks prior. The brain scan from the last 3 nights they had worn the device had been flagged internally, not because anything had gone wrong with that data, because of what the data looked like in the final 2 minutes before the participant woke up each night. She didn't describe what the data looked like. She said she had tried to write it out 3 times and kept deleting it. She said, the pattern in those 2 minutes is something I have never seen in any living person scan. I have seen it once before in a post-mortem study. She said, it looked like recognition, like finding something you had lost. Nobody's really sure what happened next because it happened quickly and quietly, the way things do when an organization decides to stop existing. Noodle's website returned a blank page on a Saturday morning. The forum went with it. Slack was still up, but Priya's account had been removed. Her messages replaced with placeholders text that said, user no longer exists, which was the kind of thing that makes you feel a cold you can't shake, even in August. There was a brief press item, not a story, just a small item, that said the company had voluntarily ceased operations, citing an internal review of research protocols. Not regulator named, no investigation announced. A refund notice appeared in my email for the past 30 days of payment, which I found strange because that was the wrong direction of money. They owed me nothing. If anything, I had been overpaid. Felipe posted in a group chat that had migrated off every official platform. Does everyone know what happened to the woman from the windows? No one answered that one directly, but someone, no username, just a string of numbers, posted a screenshot. It was a single internal message. No sender name, dated the night before Nodal went dark. The message was addressed to the company's founder, and it contained no pleasantries, no context. Just this. I went inside tonight. The people in there, they're not waiting. They're not lost. They know exactly where they are. They have been there a long time. And they know about us. They know what we did. They are very calm about it. That's the part I can't stop thinking about. How calm they are. I'm not going to sleep again. I don't think any of us should. I think they will start finding their own way through. I still have the band. It's in a drawer in my kitchen, under some takeout menus and a spare set of keys to a car I don't own anymore. I haven't worn it since that Saturday. Most nights, I'm fine. Most nights, I fall asleep without pressing anything, without wearing anything. And I dream normal small dreams that about grocery stores and conversations I almost remember. But some mornings, not every morning, maybe once a week now, though it was more frequent before, I wake up and my wrist is warm, right where the band used to be. Warm in a way that takes a few minutes to fade, and I've started keeping a light on. Not because I'm afraid of the dark exactly, more because of something Priya said in one of her last messages before her account vanished. She had said that whatever place the participants were going, whatever that pale building at the edge of every dream turned out to be, it had been there before Nodal, long before. The company hadn't created a pathway, they had just noticed one that already existed, already humming quietly under every sleeping mind, and figured out a way to widen it. They didn't build the door, she had written. They just learned how to hold it open longer. I don't know what's on the other side of that door. I have some ideas, the way you have ideas about things you have almost seen. But what keeps me up, what has kept me up for months now, staring at that ceiling with one lamp burning, isn't what's on the other side. It's that message, the last one, the part about them being calm, the part about them knowing. Why did it say they will find their own way through? What does that even mean? Because I have been thinking about doors lately, about how a door that can be held open from one side can also, if you think about it, be pushed open from the other side.